Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. My name is Sudhir Sastranaman and you're watching Study with Sudhir. Let's look at the second part of the United Nations chapter, in which we will be talking about the three main agencies of the United Nations. Do not get confused between the organs of the United Nations, which is the General Assembly, Security Council, and the International Court of Justice, and the agencies of the United Nations, where we talk about UNICEF, WHO, and UNESCO. Okay, so that's what this particular chapter is all about. Now, what exactly is in your syllabus? You need to know about the major agencies, UNICEF, WHO, and UNESCO functions only. You need to know only their functions. So it is a small chapter, but essentially a chapter where you will need to remember a few things. From the particular illustration, it's pretty obvious what exactly do these different agencies deal with. For example, here I've highlighted what UNICEF and WHO deal with. UNICEF deals with children education, children's health, mainly health. WHO deals with world health, right? And it really became very active during the COVID pandemic. Now, first of all, you need to know the logos, because this comes as a picture question. It has come several times in the past. This is how the UNESCO logo looks, right? This is how the UNESCO logo looks. This is how the UNICEF logo looks. This is how the WHO, though this one is a little different because in the logo, WHO is not written, but there is a kind of the world map which is there. So this is not very accurate. Let me point out, illustrations, AI illustrations are not 100% accurate. UNESCO and UNICEF are, but WHO, the WHO is not written. The world map is there in the center. So please do have a look at your textbook, and you should be able to distinguish one symbol, emblem from the other, the logos from the other. So the first one is the UNICEF, which is United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, which was the old name, right? Now it has been shortened to United Nations Children's Fund, right? So you do not have the international and emergency written. See, basically, this was because it was done after the Second World War, where a lot of children became orphaned. They lost their homes. So the United Nations felt that they had a duty and a responsibility towards all the children of the world, right? So which is why the words international and emergency were included. But over a period of time, it has now become United Nations Children's Fund to focus on things beyond just emergency needs, right? It is going beyond emergency needs. This was established in 1946. And its headquarters is in New York, right? It has about 200 offices in different parts of the world. It is financed by the contributions of different countries. They also sell greeting cards, other kind of fundraising campaigns in order to raise funds to ensure that they have enough money to fund different projects in different parts of the world, especially the developing countries. So if you see the different kind of activities, you have different activities involving children in different parts of the world. It could be medical care, as is obvious in this one. It is about safe drinking water. It is about their education. It is about their well-being, right? These kind of illustrations convey the well-being of children. And these are from different countries in different continents of the world. So what are really the functions of UNICEF? This one. So 4 main functions that you need to focus on. It works for the protection of children in respect of their survival, health, and well-being. Please remember these 3 terms. Okay, survival, health, and general well-being. So they would do everything to ensure that. Provides help to children and mothers, because when you talk about children, you also are talking about their mothers. In emergencies arising out of natural calamities, there is a flood. So their focus, UNICEF's focus would be to ensure that if a large number of children and their mothers are affected by the floods or an earthquake or a tsunami, they would try to ensure that help is provided to them at the earliest, right? It could be civil riots, communal riots, civil strikes, etc. So there also their focus will be on children and their mothers. UNICEF also makes effort to prevent diseases like tuberculosis, diphtheria, malaria, skin diseases, eye diseases, all these which are common among children. They also work closely with different central governments, state governments, provincial governments in different countries to plan, develop, and extend community-based services in the fields of maternal and child health, nutrition, and sanitation. That is, if there is an area where they realize a large number of children are succumbing to dengue, for example, they would work closely with the state government and their health department to ensure that the sanitation is taken care of, the nutrition needs of the children in that area or that city is taken care of. So UNICEF's mandate is to work for anything that contributes to the overall well-being of children and by extension their mothers. Is this clear? So that is as far as UNICEF is concerned, and it has conducted various programs in different countries, including India. For example, in India, it has worked on the mission for drinking water, literacy mission. So different these kind of aspects are entrusted with the UNICEF. The second organization that we need to study is the WHO, or the World Health Organization. This was formed on the 7th of April 1948, and that's why 7th of April is celebrated as World Health Day. Its headquarters are in Geneva in Switzerland. Okay, so WHO is not based in New York. It is based in Geneva in Switzerland. In fact, one of my very close friends was part of WHO till his retirement. And he was based in Europe, and he was one of the communications officers of the World Health Organization. So there you see what are the, let's say, you involve themselves with doctors, with nurses, with paramedics, taking care of vaccination, taking care of research into different kinds of vaccines, immunization for children, etc. So what are the different functions? So they help countries improve their health system by building up infrastructure and promoting research, because that's very important. You need to get into research for a particular disease which is affecting people at large. So they will work closely with different governments in different countries, and also because there are some very poor countries which do not have the health infrastructure. So they will try to set up and develop the health infrastructure in that particular country. They also give important drugs needed for medical care. For example, during the COVID pandemic, they were giving regular updates on what is needed, what are the precautions that should be taken, what should different countries do as far as vaccines are concerned, etc. They aim at fighting diseases and preventing them from spreading. Malaria eradication program in different countries is one of their biggest health program, because many people do succumb to malaria. It defines standards for strength and purity of medicines. That is, whether this particular medicine is of the right quality and fit to be administered to different people in different countries. They launched program to immunize children, so that, as part of their entire immunization and vaccination program against 6 major diseases: measles, tetanus, tuberculosis, polio, diphtheria, and whooping cough. Now, these are common diseases which affect children, right? So they have focused on these 6 very common diseases, again in different parts of the world, in order to ensure that they are kind of immunized so that they do not get these diseases. Be it polio, right? Polio vaccination is a huge program, including in India. Measles is another one. Tetanus, tuberculosis, again, the effort to make tuberculosis free. Then they also train different health personnel in different countries, so they are aware of the different procedures that they need to ensure in order to take care of the health of the people in their city or country. So you can see different kind of people. These are all the patients, the citizens waiting along with their children, and this is the vaccination, etc., taking place. The ambulance in the rural areas, in the city areas, the drinking water, the malaria nets, etc. All this is part of the mandate of the World Health Organization. So there are different achievements which are not strictly in your syllabus, but things like undernutrition, they managed to reduce it by 40%. India has been declared a polio-free country. Then leprosy has been managed better. Smallpox has been managed better. Diarrheal deaths have reduced significantly. Otherwise, a large number of children used to succumb to diarrhea, right? HIV/AIDS is another major disease which is fought. Cancer, that's another one which is now, as they say, the big and the dreaded C, which everyone talks about. Then the next organization that we need to talk about is UNESCO, whose full form is United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. So as is very obvious from the name, education, science and culture, these are the 3 focus areas as far as UNESCO is concerned. It was also established in 1946 and its headquarters is in Paris, okay, in France. So these you can see the different architectural wonders, education, literacy, culture, etc., is the mandate of the UNESCO. Okay. What are the objectives, the functions of the UNESCO? Removal of illiteracy by encouraging adult education, distance education, and open school system. So it's not just children, even adults who have not been educated, to provide adult education or distance education. You don't have a school in your area, but if you're able to connect to somebody, you would be provided distance education. Then encouragement of science education, so that people are more aware, have a scientific temper, they do not believe in superstitions, so they provide regional training centers. Then emphasis on education for women and girls, so that the women education, the girl education is a special focus and emphasis area. Financial assistance for education of disabled children. So you see different subcategories that they have gone into: adult education, education for physically challenged people, women and girl children, right? Adult education. So you see different kinds of categories being focused on. Then focus on research in areas like geology, mathematics, physics, oceanography, right? Which are more specialized kind of areas. That's another one of the focus areas as far as UNESCO is concerned. They encourage artistic creations in literature and fine arts. They work to protect the inheritance of books, rare manuscripts, and works of art. Also, India's association with UNESCO is something else which you need to know about, because India has been a member since 1946, and they have been providing funds and expertise for the protection of many historical monuments, including the Taj Mahal in Agra. So the UNESCO is very closely involved in the conservation and the protection of many of these heritage monuments, which are there not just in India, but in different parts of the world. So both in the fields of education, culture, and education, culture and science, you need to ensure that you remember at least 2 points each, so that you are able to deal with at least 6 different kinds of points. So with that, we come to the end of this particular chapter. The last chapter, as far as world history and your entire history syllabus is concerned, is that of the non-aligned movement. We will do that in the next video. With that, we will come to the end of this entire syllabus. As I said, test papers, the success test papers I'll probably focus only on the MCQs part, because that's the tricky part where you get more competency focused questions. So look out for that. That will be a little closer to the examination, but it will be one of the best and very comprehensive. I haven't started preparing them yet. Okay. Tata, bye bye. Namaskar. Do subscribe to the channel and share the video with your classmates and your juniors next year. Tata, bye bye.